Okay, so when you think dragons, you probably picture something. Well, mythical, right. From old stories, maybe fantasy novels.
Sure, the stuff of legend. Huge, scaly beasts breathing fire.
Exactly. But what if the sources we're diving into today paint a totally different picture? What if they say dragons are actually real?
And not just real, but evolved.
Yeah.
Modern.
Yeah.
Operating right under our noses.
Yeah, and actively plotting something massive, like the downfall of humanity globally.
That's the reality presented in these texts, yeah. It's pretty high stakes. We're looking at mission logs, intelligence reports, even some ancient writings.
All focused on this modern dragon threat and the last line of defense, the St. George family.
Right. Our goal here is to really analyze how these dragonmen, or serpents as they're sometimes called, operate. We're tracing the St. George's path from a place called Ebony Hollow all the way to this huge confrontation in London.
And the sources are clear. This isn't exactly a fair fight they're walking into.
Not at all. The traditional allies, the magicians, they're gone. All dead, according to these accounts.
So it's just two people, Aldric St. George, this sort of battle-hardened knight, and his son, Simon, who's just a teenager, and apparently not thrilled about any of this.
Two hunters against this vast, well-funded, politically connected conspiracy of dragons.
Let's dig into that evolution then. What do these modern dragons, these draconians or pyrothraxes, what do they actually look like?
Well, pyrothraxes means fire, which is key.
Mm-hmm.
But physically, they're described as huge, maybe 8 feet tall, often hunched over.
Still quite imposing then.
Definitely. But they hide their true reptilian features under cloaks, human clothes. The real trick, though, isn't the physical disguise. It's the magic.
Ah, the mind-clouding stuff.
Exactly. It's powerful, localized. So to you or me, this massive, terrifying creature might just look like, I don't know, an old lady shopping or maybe some businessman.
Just ordinary, completely blending in. That's chilling.
It's how they've infiltrated everything. Business, politics, organized crime. They're everywhere, apparently. Very wealthy, using countless human agents who have no idea who they're really working for.
Right. And you mentioned pyrothraxes means fire. Let's talk about their weapon, the serpent fire. It's not just fire, is it?
No, not like a normal flame. The sources insist it's magical, unpredictable almost, alive. It seems to reflect the dragon's own personality, its malice.
Alive? How so?
It's described as moving strangely, like a vine. It laughs with the dragon, one text says. And weirdly, it hates messes.
Hang on. Their magical death fire is tidy.
Apparently so. It's a bizarre detail, isn't it? But maybe it tells us something about their psychology.
Like what? A need for control, even in destruction?
Perhaps. Calculated, ritualized destruction, maybe. They don't just want to burn things. They want clean annihilation, pristine erasure, not just chaos. It suggests a very cold, precise kind of evil.
Okay, so that's the enemy. What about the St. Georges, Aldric and Simon? They're descendants of the St. George.
It's the lineage, yes, the original dragon slayer. Their family has carried this burden for centuries.
And it's more than just a name, right? There's something special about their bloodline.
Absolutely vital. The St. George blood gives them, powers. Accelerated healing is a big one. Serious burns healing in hours. Plus, enhanced strength, speed, agility.
Okay, that helps in a fight.
But maybe the most crucial thing, only they can see through the dragon's illusion magic. Naturally. Without any aid.
Wow, so they're literally the only ones who can perceive the real threat. Imagine carrying that knowledge.
It must be incredibly isolating. And they need special gear too, right? Silver weapons?
Yes, swords, crossbows, arrows.
Yeah.
All silver, all engraved with these intricate runes. But here's a question. If the dragons heal so fast, why silver? Does it actually work?
The sources suggest it's not about killing them outright with the silver. It wounds them, yes, but the key is that these wounds heal slower than others.
Ah, so it buys time. A few critical seconds in a fight.
Precisely, because silver alone can't kill them permanently.
Which leads us to the only thing that can. This death spell. How does that work? It sounds intense.
It is, extremely. Each dragon has its own unique death spell, recorded in this ancient family book, the Book of St. George. To use it, the knight has to find this one specific weak spot on the dragon, a patch of soft flesh over the heart, and they have to physically touch that spot while chanting the correct spell.
Touch them while chanting. That's incredibly dangerous. You'd have to get right up close.
Exactly. It requires immense skill, bravery, and vulnerability. You're essentially embracing the monster to kill it.
No wonder Simon was reluctant. How did he even get involved? His father, Aldric, just snatched him from school.
Pretty much, yeah. Kidnapped him from the Lighthouse School for Boys. Aldric is driven, intensely focused.
Why? What fuels that?
Grief and revenge. His wife, Meridian Simon's mother, was a magician, one of the last ones. She was killed years ago.
Killed by a dragon.
Yes, by the white dragon Venomon in a fire at sea. So Aldric's hunt is deeply personal, centered on finding Venomon.
The white dragon. His profile is unsettling, obsessed with white.
Totally obsessed. White clothes, white food, lives in an all-white apartment. He runs huge criminal operations, art forgery mainly. And his cruelty is ritualistic.
What do you mean?
He uses his magic to crush his human victims into a fine white powder, which he then consumes.
Okay, that's monstrously symbolic, erasing them into purity.
Exactly. It's a complete perversion of the idea.
Yeah.
He doesn't just kill, he obliterates, aiming for this blank white slate, erasing the mess of humanity.
And his target, when Aldric finds him, is an art curator, Alaythia Moore.
Yes. He'd been luring her using enchanted paintings. His plan was some kind of twisted marriage ceremony where he'd burn her, consume her in fire. His idea of love as ultimate erasure.
But Alaythia turns out to be more than just bait, doesn't she?
Much more. Aldric notices she sometimes sketches things unconsciously. Ancient runes. Dragon script.
Dragon script, meaning she's been exposed to dragon magic before.
Deeply exposed. It suggests she has latent magician abilities herself.
Yeah.
A power the dragons thought they'd wiped out. They might have inadvertently kept the spark alive.
So Aldric thought Venomon was the last dragon, but he quickly learned otherwise.
Right. The sources show he realized the serpents weren't dying out. They were uniting, forming a coalition.
A coalition of what? What other dragons did they encounter?
Several distinct, powerful figures, each representing a different kind of corruption almost. There's the Venetian, for instance.
The water dragon.
Yep. Lives literally under Venice. Covered in green slime, slugs. Controls the jewel and art trade from the shadows. He can create these localized green hurricanes, symbolizing maybe the rot beneath the beauty.
Okay. Who else?
There's the Russian dragon, General Pirikov, a military chief, described as red-furred, almost wolf-like, and deeply melancholic.
Melancholy. Wow.
A side effect of his magic. His mind is filled constantly with the chattering voices of everyone he's ever killed.
That's grim. How does he cope?
He keeps hundreds of cats and uses magic to silence them, just to get some peace. It suggests even these creatures aren't immune to the psychic cost of their actions.
Their own power turning against them. Fascinating. And the third main one?
Jacques Tyrannique, the Parisian dragon. Blue and yellow. Described as incredibly lazy, a total hedonist.
Hedonist how?
He literally eats famous artworks. Washes them down with gallons of paint.
He eats the Mona Lisa.
Well, maybe not the Mona Lisa, but valuable art, yes. His fire even reflects it. The smoke makes people feel drunk, disoriented. He embodies the consumption and decay of culture.
So these disparate, powerful beings,
Yeah.
they're uniting for what?
For something they call the Fire Eternal, a doomsday plan, essentially. Their goal is to resurrect the ultimate dragon ancestor, the Serpent Queen, from the Shadow Realm.
Usher in a new age of dragons. Right. How do the St. Georges even begin to fight that?
They rely on a couple of key artifacts. First is their transport. The ship with no name.
Runs on magic.
Yes, using devices powered by Meridian's, Aldric's late wife's magic. It allows for incredibly fast travel across oceans. Carries them, Aldric's horse Volsephone, even a companion fox named Fenwick.
A magical fox.
Right.
Okay. And the second artifact.
Even more critical, perhaps, the dragon map or light map. They found it in the Venetian's lair.
What does it do?
It's an old map of the world, but it glows, responds to touch. At first, it just showed the extent of the dragon's current magical chaos spreading globally.
But it revealed more.
Yes, Simon figured it out. It showed future plans. These glowing rings of fire across the globe, a blueprint for how they intended to link their power for the Fire Eternal ritual.
A literal doomsday map. But then the dragons find a weakness in the knights.
They do, an emotional one. Aldric starts developing feelings for Alaythia, the art curator with latent magic.
And the dragons can sense that.
Like a beacon. The sources say they can track strong human emotion like the scent of a wounded animal. Love, attachment. It makes Aldric traceable.
That's deeply ironic. They use twisted ideas of love for destruction, but genuine emotion is something they only see as a vulnerability, a way to track someone.
Exactly. They completely misunderstand its power, and they use it against him immediately.
How?
They use another dragon, the Black Dragon of Beijing, to lure Simon into a trap in London, right inside Venomon's White Palace.
Leading to the climax, Aldric gets captured.
Yeah, chained up. Forced to watch as Venomon prepares his ritual, burning Alaythia alive, his final act of love. He gloats about using Simon as bait. things look bleak.
But then the turning point.
Several things happen fast. First, Alaythia. Her latent power surges. She starts drawing, remembering the lost death spells from the Book of St. George, sketching them onto a piece of canvas. Magic returns through art, through instinct.
Amazing. And Simon?
He takes a risky shot, fires a silver arrow, shatters the skylight. Snow, cold air rushes in. It disrupts the contained magic.
Chaos.
Total chaos.
Yeah.
The dragon's own conflicting powers turn inwards. Aldric breaks free briefly in the confusion. But the Serpent Queen is still rising.
The ultimate threat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Manifesting as fire and shadow. Simon remembers something from the book, an unnamed death spell meant for an unknown ultimate threat.
So what does he do?
He acts fast, takes a silver arrow, cuts his own hand, smears his St. George blood onto the tip. A sacrifice.
And then?
He fires it, chanting this final unnamed spell. The arrow, carrying his blood and the power of that spell, strikes the rising queen.
Yeah.
It works. It drives her back into the earth. The ritual fails.
Incredible. But the other dragons are still there?
They are. But then there's a final twist. The black dragon, the one from Beijing who lured Simon, seems to have a change of heart. Maybe guilt.
An ally?
In that moment, yes. He unleashes ebony lightning, killing the attacking Parisian dragon, Jacques Tyrannique. This allows the St. Georges and Alaythia to escape. The remaining dragons, they scatter, wounded, afraid, their alliance broken.
Wow. So the immediate crisis is over. The fire eternal is stopped.
For now, yes. The sources conclude with Aldric formally knighting Simon, gives him a white horse, new armor, a sword. The next generation is officially established.
Where do you end up?
They settle for a time in New England, and Alaythia, now consciously using her magic, starts researching the black dragon, wondering if maybe, just maybe, a dragon capable of guilt could become something else. An ally, perhaps.
So looking back at all this, what's the big takeaway? What truly defeated the dragons?
It seems clear it wasn't just silver or spells, powerful as they are. It was human connection, complex emotions.
Things the dragons couldn't understand or control.
Exactly. They underestimated the bond between Aldric and Alaythia, the love between father and son. Their own warped idea of love as consumption was just weaker than the real thing, however messy or vulnerable it made the human seem.
That leaves us with something interesting to think about, doesn't it?
Definitely.
These texts mention hope. They call it the fire that burns forever. Now, given how obsessed the dragons are with their destructive fire, and how Simon ultimately used a weapon infused with his own hope, you have to wonder.
What role does that other fire, that fire of hope, play in the grand scheme of things?
Right. Is it just a metaphor, or is it some kind of fundamental force keeping this world, the world described in these sources, in balance against the destructive fire of the dragons? Something for you to think about.